Hello everybody, my name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I'm an author and robot, and today we're going to talk about formatting your book for printing. Hello everybody and happy Thanksgiving. My name is Ian Kirkpatrick. I am an author and robot, and today we're going to talk about formatting your book using Microsoft Word. You could of course use InDesign. I don't use InDesign, or didn't use InDesign, whatever. So I was intending to do a video that was both print formatting and ebook formatting, but in doing print formatting, I realized that it takes kind of a long time to go over all of the basics in order to do the print format. So this video is specifically going to focus on getting your book ready for print to submit to IngramSparks. And then later on, I will do another video how to prepare your book for ebook through IngramSparks and what all you should look at to do that. All right, so if you're interested in that, stick around. Let's get going. But before we get started, I'd just like to remind you, still accepting submissions for the Paddy Wagon. Send them in. Link in the description below. Send in your short story inspired by the prompt. And next Thursday, gonna be reading them. So please, please share your creative genius with us over here. I need it. I need you right now. Okay, this is the call to action. I need you. So that's all that I have to say. Without further ado, let's get into this. So the first thing to make this really, really simple is that if you actually go to the Kindle Publishing, Direct Publishing website, and you want to skip having to figure out all of the formatting yourself, they have some templates to go off of, which make it really, really easy. I'm going to do the template with sample content, and we're actually going to go off of the 5x8 because that is what I use for Dead End Drive, and I just like the size of that, so you know, why not? You are going to need a program that can open zip files because the information, the documents, templates are going to be delivered in a zip file. Okay, so then from downloads, you open the zip file, find your language, find your size, drop it on the desktop because I don't really need it anywhere else, and then we're going to go ahead and open it. So one way that you can format your book for print is you can download this template and then copy and paste stuff into the template from your manuscript in order to help format it in that way. What we are going to do instead is turn our manuscript document into the format by manually changing all the content to make it match what we want it to look like on the left. So this starts out with the cover page. This is Garamond 36, so we're going to go ahead and do title at Garamond 36 and see what it looks like. And see if we like it. And then author name, is that also Garamond? I think this whole document is Garamond. Now, so now we've got book title and person and me. You might be wondering why this looks so awkward, and that's because our page size is actually not correct. We gotta go to layout and set up the page to actually represent the size that we want it to be at, which in this case is a 5x8. How we're gonna see what the dimensions are that we need: layout, page layout, and I'm actually gonna take a screen cap of this so I can use this as reference, because you can't have an options window open while also being in Word. And then in our actual document, we're going to put that 0.6, 0.76, 0.76, 0.6, and then a gutter of 1.14. And the gutter is what's going to make the difference when you're printing, to add that little bit of extra space on the interior of the page for when you print so that it doesn't bleed. And then you're going to pick multiple pages, under pages, multiple pages, mirror margins, because that will mirror the gutter. We're also going to go to paper and change that from letter to custom size and do a width of 5 inches by 8 inches because that's what we want to do. We're going to have different odd and even and different first page, and then click OK. And so that's going to change what our page layout looks like. So now we're a little closer to this, and with our page looking like this, I don't really like it that size. And so I made it smaller, and I also don't like this spacing underneath between my name and the title. So I'm going to go to Home, Paragraphs, get rid of that double spacing. And now it looks like that. And we now are going directly into page 1. So we have to review, since this is the manuscript, we have to review what the book looks like. So the book comes with the copyright page as the next page. So to get to the copyright page, we're going to go to layout and then click breaks and then hit section break, next page, and that'll create a new section that you can really only see if you have card returns or a content, whatever showing. So now you'll see a page break right here, or a section break right here, and page break on this new guy. Now I already have all of the content for the copyright page from my actual manuscript page. So I'm just going to copy and paste that in there. But the way that I compiled that information was I looked at other books that I have on my shelf to see what all they contained, and then I made some sort of Frankenstein that had some of the information and not some of the other information. It just depends on what your needs are and what you want to put in there. It's got your ISBN on that copyright page, and your Library of Congress number, which you get after you log your book with the Library of Congress. And then this number, as far as I know, has to do with labeling the version of the book and giving you, the date that it came out, so that way you can tell one version from another if it's out in the world, because there are reprints that happen and so on. So then once you've got your copyright page done, we're going to go ahead and insert another section break, because we're going to a new section. And there's the dedications. If you'd like to add a dedication, I would not. Then you've got the table of contents. So right now we're just going to put the words contents, and then we're going to come back to that because I am not worried about it right now. You need to put in all of your pages before you need to get all of your pages in order before you worry about the table of contents. So we're just going to put that in there, put the placeholder in there, add a page break or a section break. Then there are acknowledgements, which I have also done already. Go ahead and put that you write up, and you can have it labeled. And organize it however you'd like on the page. And then we're going to do another section break. And it looks like after acknowledgements, there's also a blank page. So we're going to go ahead and enter another page. And so this is what we currently want to be seeing, where you see how on the left-hand side, this sample template, we see it scooted in a little bit more on the left side than the right side. We should be seeing that over here. And if you're not, you click in the margins and you double check that it is selected. And worst case scenario, you go to the top of your document, you select the entire document with Control, Shift, and End, and then you click Page Setup to make sure that all of the information is how you want it. Because one of the things that will mess you up is section breaks. Section break will do its own thing. And so that shifted. And one of the other things that we see here on the left is that the words are single spaced. So we are going to highlight all of the Word document with Control, Shift, and End. And then we're going to go to Home, Paragraph. Then under spacing, do single spaced. And we're also going to make sure that spacing before and spacing after are set to 0, because they don't always. So now we see this a little bit better lined up. One thing that I like on the sample is the header being a bit further down. And so we're going to turn on the paragraph markers and see how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm actually just going to copy paste those out. I'm going to see what size font this is. This is a 14 sized font. And then I like that. I like the way that looks. We'll turn this off and we'll see how that is. And I like that. So one of the things that you want to make sure that you do, you might notice it on this sample size, is that this first paragraph has no indent. And then every paragraph after that has an indent. This is technically the correct industry standard. And if you're ever curious, this is how I learn anything, is you go and look at other samples somewhere else of what other people have done for the same thing. And you can look at more than one book, but look at books that are by the Big Five. Look at books that are by publishers that you trust for the formatting to get the closest to the industry standard, and then do that. So if we're looking at this document on the right, we can see that And there's more spacing on the left side than the right side because it's going to, this is the side, the left side of this page is going to be where this left page is going to be printed on the right side of the book. And then on this other side, so it doesn't really read like it's good like a book. For this first paragraph, have no indent, then get to your next paragraph. And for a 5 by 8, you're going to want to make your indent 1 point or a 2.5 or a 2 for the first line. So you can actually just select all of the paragraphs that you want as that, and then go to paragraph, home, paragraph, and then look under indentation, make sure that special is first line, and then by 0.02, and then OK, and it will automatically format all of those paragraphs. Then that ends with a section break, and we're on to page 2. Now, see, this is the problem I was just talking about, where this page is obviously bigger than this page, because the section break has destroyed the formatting. It separates the formatting. Because sections allow you, inserting sections allows you to create different formatting for different parts. So in order to get the whole rest of the book in the correct sized paper, we're going to Control-Shift-End. This is something that you should just do at the very beginning, and I just didn't because I wasn't thinking very much. Page setup, all of our stats are still there, and then we're going to go from custom size to 5 by 8, and that should fix the issue. So now the whole book has the correct formatting, or the correct page size, right? And so now that we've got the correct page size, one of the things that we are missing is the page numbers. So coming down to chapter 1. Oh, and the headers. We're missing the headers. So how do you determine the headers? Well, again, so we're going to look at what other people do. American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis has the author's name on the left side and then the book name on the right side. And those are both indented towards the center with the page numbers on the outside. That's one choice. Is it the only choice? It is not the only choice. Let's see. Panzram has name of the book on the top left, name of the author on the top right, and then page numbers on the bottom outside edges. We're going to go to Pictures of Dorian Gray, where we have author name on the top left, book name on the top right, and then page numbers on the outside edges of the top. What about Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman? We've got name on the left, book on the right, page numbers in the bottom center. So there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. Again, review your books on your shelf to determine what way you would like your book to be organized with page numbers. I think page numbers are the ones that shift around the most, but you're almost never going to have headers on the chapter page. So we can ignore this page 1. I'm going to put the numbers on the bottom center because that's just what I feel like doing. And so to do that, insert page number, bottom of page, and then you can pick however you'd like it to look. I'm just doing plain. I don't want that extra hard return, so I'm deleting the extra hard return. And now we got a number there. Now you'll see that there's no number on this right-hand side page, and that's because we've told the document to have no... But that's because we've told the document to make page 1 of this section different than any of the other pages. So we are going to have to manually add that page number on our own anyway. So again, insert page number, bottom, plain, get rid. And then you'll see it's not here either because we've also got, if you go into your page number options, different for odd and even. So those two pages, the even and the odd, do not connect. So again, I'm going to insert manually the page number, same one, and get rid of that guy. Now we want to put in the headers. So if this is the right page, this is going to be the left page. So on the left page of the header, I'm going to want to do the author name. And also make sure that you have the right font that you want, Garamond. You don't want to have like 20 different fonts throughout your book because it's going to look weird. So I'm doing Garamond for all of the text, including the reading text. Did I already do that? Nope, that's all Times New Roman. So that's the other thing I'm going to do. I'm copying the entirety of the document and then making it all Garamond so that the fonts all read the same. You want consistent fonts so it doesn't trip up the reader's head by seeing something different or just looking unprofessional by having it be a smorgasbord or a cacophony of different names. So then on this, I've got the right-hand side picture, I've got the right-hand side page right here. And so I'm going to put in the title. And then you'll see it says same as previous. That means that every, right, there you go. Same as previous headers and footers is what's going to mess up your document if anything messes up your document, I swear. I have like years of automation document design that you do the freaking headers and footers and then you don't touch them ever again. So same as previous automatically copies whatever this header or footer is. And if you roll back, we've got this, my name at the top header and then the page numbers at the bottom on these before the book even starts pages. So what we're going to do not take off same as previous from those before pages. Take them off of this section where your book actually starts. So the way that you get there is you have your header selected, and in the top options where it says navigation, link to previous, and select header and footer, every single one of them, and remove link to previous. It should look just like this where it no longer says it once those are gone. Now, once the links to previous are gone, you can go to the previous section, in this case, section 4, and delete these headers and footers without affecting the future bits. Now, if you did not take off link to previous, then when we deleted those 4 headers and footers just now, it would have deleted everything after that if the headers and footers were still connected to previous. And I say, that doesn't look like Garamond. No, it's Calibri. Thank you. And I'm compulsively saving because that's how I do. Okay. Another option that you should set up for your document is Control Shift and End to select the entire document again. And this is just us getting everything that's not at the beginning. Click Paragraph, and then make sure that Widow and Orphan Control is selected, because this disallows words, like a single word, from appearing on the next page all by itself, which can just not look good, be harder to read. This actually just helps with accessibility, because it doesn't allow widows or orphans to stand alone. So after you've got your first chapter example, looking how you want it to do, now we just have to go through the entire book and make sure that all of the other chapters look how we want them to look. It is a manual process. 14. Just try to be consistent with what it looks like as well. Yep, so then we've got the spots we're going to check are going to be the chapter. It's going to make sure that we have this centered area looking correctly. And your chapters can look different also depending on how you want to style your book. Some people turn this first letter into a big, letter art that takes up 3 lines. Some people do it like I did, where it's more simple. Some people have the chapter, heading to the left. It all just depends on what stylization you want. And again, refer back to the books that you have on your bookshelf in order to stylize this in ways that you like and you think look good. So then we're going to make sure that every every paragraph is set up correctly with, we've got no indent first paragraph, every indent after that is a first paragraph. And when you have a break like this and it starts over, you're going to bring that first paragraph back out to the edge and stuff after that coming out. So this is going to scoot in. And we keep going to make sure it's where we want it. And when that's good, next one. That one I had to make sure that there was an extra spacing between the two, and then I have to check that the hard return spacing between matches. so that it doesn't have weird spacing that the others don't have. Okay. What happened here? So I'm seeing that the headers and footers disconnected at some point. Maybe it was just this chapter. So we're going to go back in and add those. Link to... Do you want to delete this header? Yes. So link to previous on that, just deleted whatever the header looked like. So these are going to replace the headers and footers with what I want them to look like from the previous sections. And so now those are all in compliance. Another thing that you might want to consider for formatting, this is all personal preference. So we can basically get rid of this thing. Oh yeah, then we're gonna scroll to the end. There's one more thing that we can look at this final book for. And you can look at the back ends of any other books that you'd like to see for any other information that you might want to include. So if you look at the back of Neil Gaiman's book, he put the acknowledgments there instead of at the beginning. I think most books that I usually read have the acknowledgments at the end. He's got a Q&A and an essay in the back of the book that goes about his story, and then he's got the Have You Read book section. And so you can add whatever you want at the end of your book for whatever you feel necessary for your brand or whatnot, for your brand or your sales. To get to this section, you're going to insert from your very last page and then insert another page or a section break. And in our template that we borrowed from, we've got the About the Author section. So I'm just going to put that there for a placeholder. And I don't want it to have the header of the book, and it has the page number, which I think I'm okay with it having the page number. Is that the right page? Yeah, that's the right page. So we're going to insert another page just for the back side of that same page. So then scrolling back up to the top, one of the other options that you have for reading, and this is for reading accessibility choices, and this entirely depends on what you prefer as an author, is to hyphenate or not hyphenate your words that would break. Oh, that's the other thing. Gosh, diddly dang. And I've gone this whole time without fixing that either. Okay, two things. I forgot to mention this all the way at the beginning of the video because this document was not formatted the other way. So most manuscripts, when you're working on them independently, are going to be left aligned. And when I say left aligned, I mean like this with the jagged edges to the left. Now the way that you get the boxes so it evenly lines up on the left and right side with squares is you're going to look under here under paragraph, and there's the option justify, and the justified option will turn all of those paragraphs into neat boxes that line up with the margins. So then this creates another issue because we already know when we're looking at these jagged edges that there's not the same spacing on each line. There aren't the same number of words on each line or characters on each line. So then in order to justify, it puts a little bit of extra space between some of these words. Now some people are going to be bothered by that little bit of extra space, and they're going to want it more even. And the way that you keep it more even with minimizing the space between pages is under layout, you've got hyphenation. So select all of the words in your document that are a part of your manuscript and hit hyphenation and then automatic. And what this will do is it will automatically go through your book, and anywhere where your word would break and it dropped it down to the next page, it will instead insert a hyphen automatically so that the word breaks apart and your word spacing on each line is more consistent. I personally am not a fan of hyphenation. Oh yeah, you don't even have to highlight everything. I'm personally not a big fan of hyphenation, so I'm not going to use it on mine. I don't think the spacing in this bothers me. But again, that's going to be based on personal preference. So if you want to check how your book layout currently looks in a makeshift print form, you're going to push Control P, and it'll bring up this print view. And so we can scroll through this to see how exactly it'll look. This is the left-hand page because it is the title page. You know what you'd see here. And then we can see the rights reserved on the left and the contents on the table of contents on the right. And so if I look at the Graveyard book, we've got the title here. And then on the back side of the title, you have the copyrights page. And so I'm cool with that, but I don't think that I want the table of contents on the same page as the copyright. So I'm just going to go to the end of the copyright page and push Control Enter to add a page break. Make sure that it shows this way, and then contents can't be on the left-hand page because it looks gross. So I'll just add a third page, you know? And then we can go back into print view. Oh no, we've got a dreaded header. We have to get rid of those, right? So print view also gives you the opportunity to disconnect all of these previous. So we're gonna get rid of, same as previous. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Do you have any more? Changing the view can help a lot. What is this? And we obviously have an extra page, so you know what? Get rid of that. Okay, so copyright, blah blah. You could put whatever else you want on this right-hand page. Contents. That is my special thanks, and then we start the book. And so you can see now that it's actually aligned correctly. Oh no, chapter 2 is still left aligned. How did that happen? Okay. Now you can see from this page view that we've got the gutters in the center correctly lined up to have extra printing room. Page 4, what the frick is going on here? How many of this? Did this happen to all of them? One of your, it's just one of your reasons to look over all of your content to make sure that it is properly aligned how you want it. But it looks like we have the headers and footers all in place exactly where we want them to be, so we shouldn't have to interact with them anymore. If you would like to get a little more fancy with your headers and footers, I'll show that in a second. You can insert objects in there, pictures, whatever. If you go to home, you can insert borders on the top and the bottom so that it looks like page 124 over here. But remember, if you change that on one, you have to change it basically 3 times because you've got page 1, page 2, or first page, even numbers and odd numbers. And so then we'll end up with this sort of look. And you can mess around with the headers and footers however you want to make it appeal to your book's vibe. Just don't be any rush for this. It should be zen. It's not super hard. The worst part are the headers and footers and making sure everything is consistent and you didn't miss a single paragraph. So remember, when you're doing the indentation, first paragraph for every chapter is going to be X outside, no indentation, and then you just highlight everything after first paragraph all the way down to your section end, and then you can go to paragraph, indents and spacing, and then special first, and you want point 2. And that'll get you where it should be. These are the specifications for an 5 by 8. So the bigger pages might have different indentations. That looks so weird for a second. What is going on? I think that just looks weird because there are so many short paragraphs on that one. I think we're almost done. Okay, and then about the author I want inserted into the middle. So then you can either write this yourself or have somebody else write it for you. Now, to create your table of contents, you don't want to insert those numbers manually because it's so easy to make it wrong and they don't update automatically. First what we're going to do is insert bookmarks because the bookmarks will tell us exactly where the pages are. So, highlight your chapter title, then go to I obviously have them all here already, but go to bookmarks, type in the name, and then click add, and it will add it to the list. So I don't think I have one in there for about the author, so I'll show you that way. Click that, highlight, about the author, spaces aren't allowed in this, and then add. And so then it'll show up in your list. Now, if you go to bookmarks, you can just straight go to the page. It'll take you right there. Now with your bookmarks, make sure that your content is the size that you want it. You can also insert a table to make sure that stuff stays exactly where you'd like it to be, evenly. And you can make your table invisible by having it selected, going to layout, and then, by going to design, and then clicking borders and saying no borders. No borders. If you would also still like to be able to see where the freaking borders are, then you're going to go to layout and click view guidelines. So then you can see where column 1 is and column 2 is. So then to put in your page numbers, you're going to go to insert and then quick parts, field. It'll pop open this field window and you're going to scroll down to page refs, and then it'll show your bookmark list and you'll pick the corresponding number. So you can make that look however you want it to look, and then you just kind of have to do this for each one of those fields, or each one of your chapters. Once you're done with that, it will eventually look like this. You can format it however you like, and that's how it looks. To double check how it's going to look on the printout, Control P, and then you can see it. And then we can move on. One thing that I forgot to mention was how to format your numbers, because obviously this is showing chapter 1 starts on page 9, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to highlight it, right click, click format page numbers, and I'm going to hit start at page 1 to make this the official page 1. But then when I do that, it changes all of the other page numbers after it. So I have to come back up here to my table of contents and update my page numbers. What are you attached to? That's obviously not correct. So we're going to come back and bookmark it, rebookmark it, add. And then, let's see if that fixes it. There we go. So now that's in the right place. And now it is easier to make sure that all of your bookmarks or your page numbers are correct before getting to this point, but I forgot to mention it. So this is where we are. Now let's say that I like my layout, I like everything as it's set, all of my information is correct, and so I'm going to save. So I'm going to save the document. I'm going to push F12, take us up in here, and I'm going to click PDF options, and I'm also going to click options, and I have to click PDFA compliant. Save it. So then once you have your file ready to go and you want to check the interior of it, we're just going to come right in to Ingram, and this is setting it up to be prepared for Ingram. Upload your file, then it'll click next, and then it's going to check the contents to make sure that it is correct. And if you save it with that PDF guy I just had you click, it should pass with no problems. No errors, then you can continue on your way. So that is the basics for how to format a Word document. Now you can go all over the place to find different formats, and the biggest thing is you need to investigate what other people are doing, what other people you have seen, what styles you like to see, what makes it easier to read, and also be consistent with your fonts and readable in your fonts. You'll notice everything in this book is in Garamond. And there are a handful of fonts that are recommended for the interior of the document, for an interior of a book, for easy reading. I'm going to link this in the description down below, but the 5 best interior fonts are Garamond, Jansen, Bembo, Caslin, and Electra. And depending on where you look, if you Google around, you will find different recommendations for the interior depending on what your genre is. I used Garamond because my book is a horror, and at the time I was investigating Garamond was recommended for like thrillers and mysteries and stuff like that, so I thought Garamond worked. This is how you would format a book for IngramSparks. I will do another video specifically for the ebook, which is going to be a lot shorter because there's a lot less formatting, but there are still some specific things that you might want to do in order to get certain things to come across correctly in the ebook format. And with all that said, let me know if you have any questions about this process in the comments down below. If you have anything that I did not cover when I was doing the formatting, I love hearing from you, so let me know what you'd like me to cover. Let me know if you have any questions that I did not cover. Let me know if there's anything that you'd like me to cover in the future that would be helpful. I'm going to do ebooks soon. I hope it was helpful. Happy Thanksgiving, and don't die. See ya. Dear Madam Astra, that's me. We regret to inform you that on August 1st, your employer, Agatha Jane Benedict, owner of the Benedict estate, peacefully passed away in her sleep. Oh, that's so sad. Wait. Let me try that again. Oh my goodness, that's so sad. Yeah, I think I'm ready. With millions of dollars on the line and the opportunity for your every need to be taken care of for life, tell me, is there anything more valuable than that? I didn't think so. Dead End Drive is a dark comedy novel that makes 3 promises. 1, an illustrious estate in Louisiana. 2, an opulent dinner affair for all in attendance. And 3, and most importantly of all, lots and lots of competitive murder. So if you're looking for a cozy book to settle in with for the spooky season, I've only got one question for you. Will I see you at the whale reading?